Hey everyone, Manga7 here. How we doing today? Welcome to my first top 10 list. I'm really excited to do this. We're going to be looking at top 10 worst pity breakers because it's what I am good at. First, before we go ahead, let me know in the comments below. Pause the video right now. Let me know who you think my top 3 are, just to kind of see if you can guess close to what it is. I'm sure a lot of you will be wrong, but I guess we'll see. There's a couple things I took into account for this list. One is availability. So I'm not going to be considering non-exclusive 5 stars, so things such as Larachelle or Soleil or something like that, just because I automatically consider them worse than an exclusive 5 star. I'm also going to consider fodder a lot. I'm going to consider how important the first one of them is, if that makes any sense, and we'll talk about that as we go on. So let's get on to my first ever top 10 list, and number 10 is Gray. And I wasn't really sure what to do about Gray. There's sort of that pool of red swords that just don't matter and don't mean anything. By the way, where did my beautiful face go? How does it feel? Hear me without seeing it. How does that feel? He just, you know, he doesn't do anything special. He doesn't really do anything at all. He's got no fodder outside of Sword Valor, who you can now get through Lene, so that already pushed him back. Zambato is a really boring weapon. You'd probably have to change that. I guess you could specialize him. Wind boost, not that great, and the stats aren't really great either. So overall, I just can't really recommend this guy. Like, he's one of the worst things I could possibly get. I'd be happy to get one, but that's it. I kind of forgot he existed, to be entirely honest. Like, he's in the group of Gray, Saber, and Luke for me. But I remember Saber and Luke exist. I never remember this guy exists, so maybe that's a good reason to put him down a peg. And number 10 is that, and we're on to number 9. And number 9, Ephraim here. I was kind of wondering whether I should put him on, but the main reason I put him on is just there's so many better blue options. You know, if you look at this list, it's going to be flooded with a lot of reds, my bad there, but blue has a lot of good options. Something like Harden, something like Nephany with Wrath. There's just so many better blue options. He is a solid unit, especially with his Sigmund as a refine now, but it does cost 200 due. You're never going to really use Seal Defense. You're probably not going to use Threaten Defense either, since if you are going to use him, you're going to use him as a buffer. But at the same time, you can give him Lance Breaker or something like that, or Sword Breaker, and he's a fantastic AA unit. The thing is, he just doesn't stand out for any reason whatsoever. He's just kind of there, and one of the ones that is kind of there because they're a lord, and I think they should probably be demoted at this time. That's another thing that this list is probably another name for, units that could be demoted and things would be good. So let's move on to number 8 here, and number 8 is Leo. You know, this guy has something really good going for him. He's the top 2 red cavalry mage in the entire game. That means he is better than everyone past him. Obviously, there's only 2, so maybe not so great there. I like his weapon, Brynhildr. It's not as good as I expected it to be, and I really wish it was better. That's kind of what's holding him back at this point. The only stats, or the only skill inheritance he has, obviously, is QR3, which I think is kind of fading away at this point, so that's even valued less. Savage Blow is fantastic, but you're never going to sacrifice a Leo for Savage Blow. He's also got a ton of wasted stats. I just really don't like his stat line. Maybe he could ditch a little speed. Maybe he could get a little more defense. I'm just really not sure. And as always, no fodder. Definitely a theme going on here. On to number 7. So number 7 is Minerva, and Minerva is fantastic. Her Hot Claire is an insane weapon with the Slaying Wodao. Her stats are also really good too. She's actually got 32 defense, I think, at base, which is fantastic, but as always, no exclusive fodder. And the big thing that puts her on this list in terms of how it feels when you summon her is there just could have been so much more. Green's 5-star exclusives are just super fantastic. There's the Hectors. There's, honestly, I'm not going to be able to remember any as I start doing this list, but it's Hector, there's Brave Ephraim. There are just infinity green units now that are all fantastic. Alternatively, spoiler alert, these aren't going to be on there, but there's people like Rajat and Sonya who you could get as well, but I think they're just more usable in a vacuum than something like Minerva is, and Rajat does come with distant defense, which helps out, and Sonya has some fun stuff on her too. I think she has a ploy. I'm not sure on that. And there's also Julia and Deirdre and Green, who you could get, who are fantastic dragon slayers too. So I just put her here because it just feels bad summoning her. There's nothing she really does special, and there's so many other green options that could have been way better. So let's move on to number 6 here, and I bet a lot of you are surprised right now to see Mist at number 6. When I asked you to guess, I bet you were thinking Mist was down there at number 1, number 2, or number 3, but she's not. And I had her initially there. She's actually why I started making this video right now, because I was so tired of getting her. I have a +5 Mist for those of you who don't know, all from Pity Breakers. But the thing is, she is still a healer, and that just puts her ahead of so many other things. At this point in the game, especially with Arena Assault, especially with all the game modes, she is just so good against a range of things. Like, I honestly probably shouldn't have even put her on this list because of this, because the ability to Dazzling in armor, the ability to Wrathful in armor, the ability to heal up, the ability to support, everything just kind of pushes her up on the list, in my opinion here, or down on the list, depending on which way you're looking at it. She's also super adorable, and she really likes Ike, so maybe that kind of puts her up a little bit. But unfortunately, she is, I think, the worst healer. I was kind of thinking about it, and she just doesn't attack well, she doesn't tank well, she doesn't really do anything well. She's just kind of average and worse than everybody, so that's what kind of puts her down for me. And of course, she has no fodder. For a while, she was the only person with Spur Defense res, but that's no longer a thing anymore. So I'm sorry, Mist, but you have to sit at number 6. So who is worse than Mist? Let's go to number 5, and that is Eldigan. And Eldigan has really long fingers, which kind of bothers me. He's also really angry, but the good part is he has Dark Mistletoe now, which he can come with. He has absolutely 0 fodder, and Ares exists at 4 stars. So that's a really important thing, having Ares there just to kind of take over, to be a better Eldigan. I do like him. He was my first ever 5-star on my alt, and he carried me there. But he's just doesn't do much, and again, that's a lot of the problem with the red units, is they don't do much compared to the counterparts compared to what you could have gotten. Even getting something like a Brave Roy at least comes with Gale Force and feels better at this point. And there's also, like, you could have gotten a Mia, you could have gotten a Carla, you could have gotten a Zelkius, you could have gotten Swiss Sparrow fodder, you could have gotten so many other things other than him, and that's why I have him on my list. And also, I don't really use him, you know? Like, I have him on my alt, who has not very much, and he's plus attack there, and I still just don't use him. And really, it's underwhelming. I don't know what else to say about him, but that's about it. He's halfway down the list here at number 5, and we have number 4, and I was kind of wondering whether I shouldn't put this guy on this list or not. And this is Carell. I really like this guy, actually, but he fits all of the kind of expectations of a bad 5-star summon, in terms of he has 0 fodder, his stats are actually not very good, and he has an alternative at 4-star that's probably better, and also he also has infinity other 5-star reds you could have gotten instead of him, as the Carla, as the Ira, as the such and such and such. But Nameless Blade is a really fantastic blade, and with his 50 HP, he's one of the only ones who can survive really big hits from armors. So he has something going for him, but you have to invest in him a lot, and that's the problem. You have to give him Nameless Blade, you have to do refine it, you have to do all sorts of things. My alt actually summoned a Carell as well, and I do refined his weapon and gave him like Vengeance or something for fun, and he's actually been half performing in Arena Assault, so maybe I'll relook his stats and his everything later. But for now, he's sitting at number 4 just because Fear is just better, I think. Maybe not better, but I just like Fear better, as expected. So on to 3, and this is where it gets kind of sad, because, you know, when you think about Fire Emblem, you don't really think of Lyn to be in a bad tier list. I mean, maybe I do, or I don't, but maybe you guys do. I'm not really sure, but it just, poor Lyn, you know, she really just needs to be demoted. The problem with her is not that she can't be good, because she can be very good, especially with higher merges. The problem is she has a ton of investment you have to add. You need to refine her weapon. You probably need to give her Wrath. You probably need to give her so many different things. You need to take off her Gale Force too as well, I think? I'm not entirely sure. The other part is she has pretty bad offensive stats. She's got like just terrible attack. But she does have good defenses, and it's really nice to have good defenses on a melee unit like this. Having 26-29 spread is actually kind of unexpected. And a lot of the problems too with her weapon is you waste a lot of her speed with her Brash Assault and everything. So yeah, poor Lynn. I want to plus 10 her, to be honest. I've been wanting to build her forever, but I just can't see myself doing it until she is demoted. And I don't know if she ever will be, because people really like Lynn. And number 2, are you honing in on who this might be? Are you kind of getting closer and closer to thinking you know who this top 3 is? Well, the number 2 is Owen. Owen feels so bad, like so obnoxiously bad. She's just 0 times 4. I also summoned an Owen recently, a minus attack Owen, so that sucks. The good part about her is you can give her a Blade Tome and she will be fantastic, but I'm not looking at her in that sort of sense. I'm looking at her from a summon standpoint, from a baseline stat point, and she just doesn't excel. She's got no fodder whatsoever. I guess Warding Blow, I don't know who would ever really want that, and Ward Cavalry, and Reinhardt just kind of super outshines her. Really sad to ever get her, and she's been breaking my pity rate a lot lately. Maybe that's why she's this far up on this list. But it is what it is, and I just don't know what to do with her, especially my minus attack when I'm literally never going to use her. And on to number 1. Can you guess who it is? It was really obvious to me once I hit the person who it was that he deserved to be in number 1. It could change in the future, but for now, number 1 is Inez. He definitely feels worse than anything else I could possibly get as a 5-star. The big problem is his Nidhogg, however you say that. It's just not a good weapon, and he needs a refine, basically. Like, it needs to be better, and it needs to be something good. I just can't see what they can do to make him better. The other part is 14 defense is just atrocious at this point. He's not good against dragons. He's not good against armors. He's not good against anything. And the bad part is, because he's got something like 35 HP, even with 36 res, he's still going to die to mages, which is kind of the same fate that my kitty Sakura has. He also has no fodder. Nobody's going to sacrifice an Inez for Fortress Res or Cancel Affinity 3. I mean, maybe they will because he's so bad, but there's that. And also, even if you try to bring him in against flyers, like I bring him in all the time in Arena Assault against flyers, and he still doesn't get the kill. I either die on initiation or I have to dance and attack twice to get a kill. And I have mine built better than base set, so there's that to think about. So Inez, please don't break my pity rate anymore. For those of you who didn't know, Inez broke my pity rate when I was going for regular or seasonal Inez, summer Inez. So I have some salty feelings toward this guy. Anyways, that is the list. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you agree, what you disagree with. Let me know who you think I forgot in the comments below. I'm sure I did forget something. And have a wonderful day, everybody. Bye now.